being seen. That's nice, because I did change some things, and I was sad that my executive producer was really just a black silhouette in the background of my videos. I'm not entirely sure very many people knew that she was even there, or whose hat it was that I was borrowing for these episodes. So, I would like to introduce Yvette, Random Scottish History's executive producer, my co-host, so to speak, and owner of the hat that I use for our newspaper article Lucky Dips. So we'll get into this one, shall we? I'm not going to do trigger warnings. I do not know what's getting pulled out of the hat. If you are concerned that there may be something that might really affect you, look down in the description below. It'll tell you what we have picked out in this episode. I used to do rundowns where I would try and cover all the options of things that make... There's no point, and people were bored of hearing this. Look down below. Okay, we'll get into this one, shall we? The boys are kicking about, so this could be interesting. So, one of my favourite titles for a newspaper. We have the North British Daily Mail for the 2nd of August 1876. Let's find out what the Daily Mail has for us. Okay, so we have singular death to start us off for this episode. The city coroner held an inquest on Monday on the body of Reuben Hayes, aged 51 years, a carter, late, of 52 Prussia Street, Ancoats. Samuel Barnes of 278 Oldham Road said that last Monday night, about 10:30, he was in the Murray Arms public house, Prussia Street. Deceased and a strange man were there, apparently on very friendly terms as they were drinking from each other's glasses. Witness saw the deceased go out and return in a few minutes with his hands blackened, as if he had rubbed them with soot. He went to the strange man, and without saying anything, blackened his face by rubbing it with his hand. The man laid hold of the deceased's hands to remove them from his face, and both fell. The deceased shouted out, "My leg is broken." Witness and other men in the vault picked him up and found that such was the case. He was taken to the infirmary, and the other man left the vault. Witness had not seen him since. Mr. C.E. Richmond, physician's assistant at the Royal Infirmary, said the deceased was admitted on the 24th instant, suffering from simple fracture of the leg. The accident caused great constitutional disturbance, giving rise to congestion of the lungs and congestion of the brain, with effusion of fluid upon it. The man died on Friday from the congestion of the brain and lungs. The jury returned a verdict of accidental death. I would suggest their finding was probably right. That does sound like an accidental death. But I'm unsure as to how a broken leg could do that. I'm inclining towards the suggestion that perhaps there was a head injury in addition to the broken leg. Where was it saying the fluid was... congestion of the lungs and congestion of the brain, with a fusion of fluid upon it. You're not going to get fluid in the lungs from that. Maybe the fluid in, but again, that would be a head injury that caused... Either way, I can see how that would have been an accidental death. It's weird that he would just come in and just rub soot all over a person's... That's a really weird thing to do, but they'd obviously had a bit to drink, and he wasn't really thinking that that wasn't a stupid thing to have gone in and done. Oh well, interesting way to start our episode. Let's see what we have next. I'm also wondering if it's like, no, it can't, because I know that if circulation's cut off for long enough, like, and maybe you have a crush injury or something, the release of the constriction can cause, is it maybe something from the marrow or something to get into the bloodstream, and that can be really dangerous. That doesn't sound like what happened there. That's going to stick with me. I'm going to keep wondering about that, actually, I think. Next we have the Glasgow Morning Journal for the 20th of August 1858. So we'll see what the Morning Journal has. I know we're, ne? You guys can't fight in here just now. So we have another article here that doesn't really give us an insight as to what's contained within it. It's entitled A Strange Occurrence. A few weeks ago, a hen at the farm of Westmill, Carse of Gowrie, a hybrid between a Dorking and a Cochin China fowl, having commenced clocking and showing no inclination to make to herself a nest like others of her sisterhood, she was watched, and found to spend a large portion of her time in a lumber room, which for years past the cats, in connection with the tune, had possessed as a sort of nursery. Moreover, it was also an ascertained fact that one of the latter had at the time no fewer than 7 kittens there, and how Bodrins could allow her family arrangements to be thus interfered with by a clocking hen was a wonder to all the cotter wives in the neighbourhood. But if their wonder was great on that score, it was not lessened by the result of further investigation. On entering the room, they found Chucky sitting on the floor with 2 pretty little kittens looking out beneath her wings, and a third coiled on her back, and the enraptured foster dame herself clucking to their great solace and enjoyment. The truth is, the hen, disdaining the slow process of hatching, had given battle to the cat, and, taking forcible possession of her young ones, had lavished on them so much of a mother's fondness that they played about her all day long, and took shelter beneath her outspread wings the moment anything excited their fears. But how did she nourish her feline charges? For they required food as well as protection, and her pickings must have been quite unsuited to their necessities. In this matter she showed something like the reasoning faculty. At stated times the mother of the kittens entered the room, and stalking timidly to the furthest corner, began to mew, when immediately the young ones would run to her. For a moment or two the hen invariably stood and viewed the scene with pleased interest, then, profiting by the opportunity, walked off to the barnyard, and, after filling her crop, came back and with a cluck-cluck drew her family again about her in an instant, while the cat slunk to the door with all possible speed. The hen, we are happy to add, after enjoying her conceit thus far, had the sense, like other decent hens, to betake herself again to the more profitable occupation of laying eggs as aforetime. And the Glasgow Morning Journal's taken that from the Perthshire Advertiser. I can't be the only one feeling sorry for the cat here, for the mama kitty. She's literally had her kittens taken off her by her food, basically. How the hen won that fight, I have absolutely no idea. I can't understand how the cat would be so subservient to a hen. I mean, it says it was a hybrid between 2 types. Was this like an especially vicious, crazy breed of chicken that I've never heard of? I feel really sorry for the wee mama cat that's had her youngsters taken from her. I think that's a bit of a sad story, actually. I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's a bit of a sad story. We'll see what we have next. Got my boys running about my legs. we have the Fife Herald for the 21st of October 1824. Let's see what the Fife Herald has for us. I'm starting to see some kind of theme of sadness in this episode. So we have Horrible Murder as the title of this one. It is stated in the Paris papers that a horrible assassination has been committed in the wood of Vincennes. A Paris lady of the name of Heron had 2 boys, the one 5 and the other 6, boarded in Vincennes. She was in the habit of frequently visiting them and accompanying them on their walks. On Sunday last, having called at the house where they lodged and got them dressed in their holiday clothes, she went out with them and directed their walk to the wood. During their promenade, the children were accosted by a lady who praised their beauty and kissed them with apparent tenderness. A few moments afterwards, a man about 40 years of age, dressed in a blue greatcoat, came out of the wood and approached Madame Heron, who held her boy in her hand. Like the strange lady who immediately preceded, he pretended to admire their beauty and kissed the eldest, who immediately screamed, "Mamma! Mamma!" The wretch had plunged a knife in the throat of this child, and while the mother was looking for the cause of his screams, the assassin took the opportunity of dispatching the other. The piercing cries of the wretched mother soon attracted some passengers, and the gendarmerie almost instantly came to the spot. A suspected person was arrested shortly afterwards and declared by Madame Heron the murderer of her 2 children. The history of the criminal and the motives of the crime are as yet undisclosed. That the atrocity was premeditated is evident from the known concert between the murderer and the monster who betrayed his victims with a kiss, and from the previous inquiries which had been made about them in the village where they were boarded. The 2 children expired instantly. Were the children known? Was the mother known? How would they have come to the attention of the people that killed them? Saying that they're almost certain it was premeditated. But then why were they selected? There's nothing to suggest a connection between the 2. There's obviously a connection between the strange woman and the man that got the children. But I'm not understanding what the connection would be between those 2 and either the mother or the children. I mean, you could come up with like a bunch of supposed events that led up to such a thing, but I'm sad that there's not more information. I mean, if they got the murderer, surely that person would have been questioned. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking there's every chance that this woman has seen these 2 children that apparently don't live with their mother. She visits with them and takes them out. So maybe this woman has seen these children that she takes to be motherless because the mother doesn't live with them. Perhaps they're in some kind of foster care. Maybe they're just at boarding school or something. I mean, there's obviously a reason that she's not seeing them. And perhaps this woman has tried previously, but then the children didn't. There's nothing to suggest the children recognized her either. So maybe she's just been watching them. Maybe she was kind of stalking the children. And when she sees that, oh, they actually do have a mother that is, maybe at that point she just got jealous, because she wasn't going to be able to take them. That's really weird. That's really weird. I know, darling. I feel you. I find that very strange. Elfie at the moment is trying to go up in the window, because when I'm in here, he only wants me for window access. Don't you? You only want me for my window. Nah? Maybe let him up in a wee bit. He can watch for foxes. Okay, well, can we all cross our fingers for something a little more positive? Let's have like a funny article or a good news article. Maybe something that's just something of a curiosity and is a nice thing. Well, we have a very short very short title here. I don't know, you can't really see this. I know I gave up trying to show you. It's The Star for the 16th of April 1814. So here's hoping that The Star has something lovely for us. Okay, so we'll have this as our last article. I'm seeing the first few words and it doesn't bode well for us. I'm not foreseeing a particularly positive article, so I'm sorry for that, but you never know what you're going to get out the hat, so we'll just do this. No title for this one. A most lamentable occurrence lately happened in Pembrokeshire. A boy 17 and a girl 14 years of age, children of E. Francis, who lives on Templeton Mountain near Narberth, having been recommended to wash themselves in a solution of arsenic in order to cure a disagreeable complaint which they had contracted, made use of a preparation so strong that it terminated their existence in a short time, and they were both buried on Sunday se'nnight. Se'nnight is 7 nights, so a week ago. Saturday se'nnight, during a thunderstorm, a woman was killed by lightning in a house on the common near Macclesfield, and at the same moment a man at work in an adjacent house had his legs scorched, and a horse was also killed. The following scene of destruction lately occurred at a village near Melton Mowbray. One of the principal farmers administered a drink to a numerous flock of sheep as a preventive for the red water. In the course of 4 hours, several of them were seen to droop, and in a short time they died. When the writer entered the field, 16 lay dead, and a great number were ill, so that nothing less was expected than the destruction of the whole flock. On inquiring into the nature of the composition which had been given them, the answer was, about 3 tablespoonfuls of a weak mixture of nitra and Peruvian bark, slightly acidulated with oil of vitriol. Oil of vitriol is sulfuric acid. Had been given to each. This was not thought sufficient to have occasioned such extensive mischief, but on further inquiry it was found that the nitra and bark had been boiled together in a copper vessel, and the mixture was so strongly impregnated with copper that it very soon gave a copper colour to the blade of a case knife, which was put into the liquor as an experiment. Here, no doubt, was the cause of this severe loss, which is instanced as a caution to those who have occasion to administer any drink to their stock. What? Okay. I'm stuck on the last, but we'll start with the first. Arsenic, we know, is poisonous. And it was implicated in so many murders in the 19th century that a law was passed so that arsenic had to be coloured with indigo or soot, because then if it was ingested, they would be able during the autopsy to see if there was soot or indigo in the stomach as well as arsenic. That was the case in one of the Square Mile murders, Madeline Smith had seemingly killed her lover, Pierre Emile, and she was let off with a not guilty verdict. It was found she had bought arsenic from a number of chemists in the city with a view to killing rats, and it was supposed that she was putting it in cocoa that she was giving her lover. But during the autopsy they said that they hadn't found sutra indigo, and the chemists that had testified saying yes, she had had also been able to show that they did dye their arsenic by mixing it with soot or indigo. But in that case, it was also talked about that women were apparently using arsenic in order to better their complexions, which is what I assume this was. I think maybe these children have found themselves with a skin complaint, maybe impetigo or something. It's maybe something contagious since the both of them had it. So I'm just going to throw out there that it was possibly impetigo. So when they've mixed up this arsenic mixture to cleanse the wounds or the affected area of skin, there's a good chance that the skin was broken, and so the arsenic was able to get into the bloodstream somehow. I mean, it could also just have still been on their hands or something when they've maybe had something to eat afterwards or drink afterwards. But yeah, you don't mess about with arsenic. I wonder if they were tasked with making this solution themselves. Perhaps there wasn't an adult making it for them. Perhaps they were just told, there's the arsenic, mix it with water, or I don't know. But there they've gone and died of arsenic poisoning. Then a lightning storm that seems to have been fairly fatal to a woman, a man, and a horse. Oh no, it was fatal to just the woman and the horse. The man just had a leg scorched, which is crazy. I wonder if it was the same strike that got him, because it says at the same moment. But then was there lots of lightning quite quickly? I don't know. It was an adjacent house, but then no, it's almost certainly got to be separate strikes, getting all three of them. It's pretty unlucky. And the last, I don't know who puts sulfuric acid in anything that's about to be ingested by a living creature, unless your goal is to kill said living creature. But they're saying that in their mind that's not what killed the sheep. It wasn't your oil of vitriol.